going on today, fam? So I am back again, and I am in a 2014 Chevy SS, and I am excited. This is my ideal dad car, and by that I mean as soon as I have a family, I still want something fast, but I want something that I can throw the kids in the back. This is the car I see myself in, if not an E39 M5, but you know, whatever. But all right, so this car is a pretty clean example. It's slightly modified, a few things done to it. So first, we'll start with the engine. So engine-wise, it is a LS3, and this car has a Texas Speed Stage 3 cam. It has stainless works long tube headers, a cold air intake. It has bigger injectors and an E85 kit. It's making 475 horsepower at the wheels and 450 foot-pounds of torque. And suspension-wise, it is on Eibach springs. That's all. Tires, it's running 245, 275 Continental Extreme DWS. So this should definitely be interesting. And this car is an automatic. I failed to mention. So yeah, so this is a 6-speed automatic. In 2014, there was not a manual option, but that option came available in 2015. So yep, here we go. So quick weight estimate. And so this car weighs around 3,900 pounds, which is fairly heavy. And so we'll see how it carries its weight. So let's get into it. And we're on Snake Road today. Let's get it. I'm gonna throw this thing in sport mode and throw it in manual mode. All right. So I forgot to mention, but this thing has X-pipe and magnaflow exhaust too. So that might account for some of the sound you're probably hearing right now. Braking. Okay. Running into the first corner, I can already tell, like, the brakes are probably gonna have a hard time. So these come stock with 4-piston Brembos up front. It's the same ones you usually find up on STIs, Evos, etc. But this is a much heavier car, so they got a lot more work to do. Sorry, people. Right now, there's a bit of delay in between shifts, but if you're just out having fun, it'll do. Obviously, you know, if you're tracking the car seriously, you would definitely want to buy one with the manual, but for just like some back road cruising every once in a while, I think you can get away with it. Best sides, like like dual personality, like literally, because I was just cruising over here. It was like the most relaxed drive, you know, like besides a little bit of drone, you know, like from the long to the muffler, but it was just putting along, no issue. But as soon as I get here, throw it in sports mode, whole different beast. I love it. So one thing that I don't like though is the seating position. Like you sit so high, which I kind of got used to it after a while. But like initially hopping in, I'm like, whoa, I'm sitting like super duper high right now. Like, you know, I guess it's just one of those things you gotta adapt to. I thought the seat was up a little bit, but it was all the way back, so I was definitely surprised by it. Turning radius, it's decent. It's decent. Let's get it. There we go. So going back to shifting for a second, it's like you have to predict when you want to shift about 2 seconds earlier, like when you actually want to, and then you can kind of get your shifts like to do what you want with the car. This car could definitely benefit from a pad upgrade, maybe some stainless steel lines, some good fluid, just to help it bring it down a little bit from a stop. I'm actually surprised why they didn't put like the CTS V6 piston calipers. Probably would have been a slightly better fit for a car of this size, but it's still dancing around. I like it, honestly. And the suspension firmed up, less body roll. Like the car is pretty neutral from what I can feel. This car is just fun to drive. It's a hoot. Let's see what we got. Yeah, those downshifts is not liking it. There we go. Let's just get into it. Brake. Downshift. This would be the perfect family sedan maybe who just wants one car to do it all, but not in the automatic. I feel like in the manual, even though I haven't driven the manual, but you know, it's a T56 like everything else that Chevy makes, so I'm assuming it would be great. You know what I'm saying? Like, I always have so much fun if I could be able, like, to heel toe, you know, and get that satisfaction and just have the car dancing around a little bit more with me. You know, that would just be awesome. But all in all, I like the car. I think I can make it work for myself, and I think it's a super fun car to drive. Obviously, there's some issues that I would love to address, starting with these seats, but other than that, it was a fun car. But thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the review. If you did, please do like and subscribe.